Gurpal, welcome to the PendulumLost podcast. It's been hard work getting you here. I'm a busy man. So I've known you a long time. And I think there's so many elements of Gurpal that makes him so famous in the world. Obviously, your amazing Bhangra skills are renowned. The captain of the uni team, I think you probably did a lot of Bhangra outside of that.
Yeah.
Fantastic dancer. You also are an okay footballer, you know.
Bingo.
Just
about.
We play football lots. No, actually, do you know what? I think I was proud when I did score past you. So that's amazing. I know your career has been great as well. That can be a whole podcast in itself. Hint, with the engineering world. But you know, one thing you're definitely known for, and I think is obviously incredible, and which we're going to talk about today, is the Happy to Help charity.
Yeah.
But which I know lots about you but for others out there, how would you describe Gurpal?
Well, thanks first, guys, for having me on the podcast and stuff. So yeah, myself, without sounding too cheesy about it, but I've always been a very pragmatic person. From growing up, seeing things, learning things, and then school and so forth, and certain, let's say, life experiences. I've always been very pragmatic. So if something doesn't make sense to me, I will not waste too much time on it. But if something does make sense to me, I will go for it pretty much, very, very, with my gut instinct. So I find there's no kind of in between with myself. It's something that if I'm in, I'm like very much in. And if I'm out, with respectfully, it's kind of like, no, that's not for me kind of thing. And that kind of works into my working life and family life and everything. Now I've got a little one as well. So those kind of things as well. Family is huge for me. It's like, that is my everything, I would say. And everything is second to that. And I think it should be. Career and blah, blah, blah. It's all fantastic as long as job can pay the bills, and that's cool. But I think a very healthy home life is a perfect foundation for not just for myself, but for my wife, for son, for my parents and everything as well. Those you have hellish days at work, you come home and if that's not comfortable, it's just no. So yeah, family life for me is a very, very important thing. And fun. I love to have fun. Like you said, when we were doing Bhangra and playing Dole and football and going out with mates and stuff like that, I think it's very, very healthy to have fun. And yes, as crazy and serious as life can be at times, you need to remember life is also very, very beautiful without sounding cheesy. And we are very fortunate with our lives and our circumstances that we've been given, that we have those outlets, that we've been given the freedom to go out and to enjoy ourselves and have fun. And that comes as much as with mates and everything, but again, with your family, go on holidays, spend time with your kids, wrestle with your kids, do stuff you need to. Otherwise, what's the point of it all, right? So yeah, pragmatic, fun, family-based, well-grounded, be as humble as absolutely possible. And we'll come on to some of those bits of what makes me feel humble and always keeps my feet on the ground kind of thing. But yeah, you can have all the hankar, being big-headed and ego as you like. Life will give you reality checks before you'll even realize it. So yeah, humble for sure.
And do you know, so for all those things that you say you do, a lot of the times I feel like you're doing all of them kind of at the same time. So I'm like, oh my God, how does this guy have time? But you do it all, like you're all in. Yeah. And so I'm kind of interested, like where that drive come from, and also like what were you like as a kid? Has it always been like that?
I would say I've had a lot of very positive influences, again, from the household. That's where it all kind of starts with my folks. I saw exactly how much my folks would work, waking up in the morning, cooking, taking us to school and doing the school runs. Now that we've got babies, you actually appreciate that a lot more. But like my mum didn't even drive. So how she would run, take us to school, cook my dad's lunch, for example. My dad's builder, cook his bronte in the morning for him to take to lunch, then bolt to the station. My mum worked in the city as well. Yeah. My mum wasn't like a housewife, for example. She had a job, she had a career as well. So seeing that, and then seeing like my father, how he was and working, and recession hit, doing nights for security, but waking up early to pick us up. Yeah. So that kind of thing was like, these guys have mapped out their time, and it kind of made me realize I've got to be like that as well. So that kind of drive and everything came from that. I've got an older brother who was also very, very driven, and he was a very, very positive influence on me, looked after me a lot growing up and everything as well. And I'm the youngest from my family that's all here as well. So I had a lot of influences seeing people doing multiple things, but also working and doing well at school and everything like that. So my whole thing was, I want to be like that as well. Not, I want to go out and be silly and do stupid things and blah, blah. I was like, no, for me, that was cool. That's how I wanted to be. And it's just, now with my day job and everything, because I work as a project manager in my day role. So that same approach that I kind of had growing up and then with uni, it kind of went into that, and now it just overlaps into this whole thing of, this is my life. It's not that that's my job and that's one thing, that's one thing. It's like, this is what makes me. And it obviously changes as time goes on. Like once you get married, you get older, you have children, and your priorities and what was important, you actually realize that's not important anymore. This is important. And you just finding balance is the thing. And especially with a charity, with where it is and how it functions now, it is a very self-sufficient system. It's taken more than 10 years for it to be that, but sometimes it would look like we're doing so much. And the beautiful thing about it, in my opinion, is we just do what we can when we can, but the impact's fantastic. And the fact that people think, oh my God, you're doing so much, I'm like, I just did that. And the impact of it was fantastic. So it's about having that network and that system that, yes, things look fantastic and that typical social media kind of impact, which is great. But for me, I know where my balance is, and my wife is incredibly supportive about that. We met through the charity, and so we click on a number of, let's say, fundamentals in our relationship, and I talk to her about everything. So she can kind of give me that reality check sometimes as well. Like, no, that's not the time or the place. Let's chill out. Don't run 50,000 miles ahead. Like, relax. You don't have to conquer the world tomorrow, kind of thing. So that whole slow and steady wins the race approach works a lot.
So before we kind of go into the charity in a bit more detail, when you started, there was a lot of things that I saw that you did with Great Ormond Street Hospital. So I know you've got a personal connection with that. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So I was born with a ventricular septal defect, which in layman's terms, I had a hole in my heart. And so I was born in 1990, and if you think about it, back in the day, nobody really spoke about anything within the community, and that's a big stigma when it comes to anything, in some instances, even still now. But back then, I was 6 weeks premature. Mum knew from day one there was something wrong, but the doctor was like, no, it's just premature, and so forth. And then, long story short of it, she was like, no, something's definitely wrong. Went to the hospital, had a checkup, got the call that evening, something's very wrong, going to get admitted very, very quickly. Wow. So then I had open heart surgery when I was, I think, 5 or 6 months old. And luckily enough, it was successful. I had an immediate recovery pretty much. And touch wood, to this day, I've never had any medication or anything for my heart. Just had the regular checkups, and fit as a fiddle, thankfully. So very, very fortunate in that sense.
And you've been going to checkups regularly?
So since I was 18, up until the age of 18, I would have checkups every year.
Wow.
So it went from first, obviously post-surgery, pretty much weekly, then monthly, quarterly, and then after I was probably about 4, I reckon, it was every year. And that was the again, when we talk about reality checks and stuff like that, when you're younger, you don't really understand it or appreciate it as much. But then growing up, I really, really appreciated it. Yeah. And like I said, when I mentioned about medication and developing I would go to my appointments with my mum every year, and we would see people, bless them, probably our age now, with their folks who are the same age as our folks, who are still looking after them. They have to. They unfortunately didn't either mentally didn't develop, or physically have issues, or respiratory issues and stuff like that. And so I was like, that could have been me. And now as a parent, I appreciate what my parents must have gone through at that time. And if my kid has a cold now, it breaks your heart. I couldn't imagine being like that. But as a parent, my parents saw me with tubes, and they tell me the stories all the time that, you had tubes like for feeding and monitoring, and we've been there where the sirens have gone off like you see in the movies kind of thing, and setbacks out of nowhere. Beyond scary. Like my dad tells me the third time it happened, so it happened 3 times, and the third time it happened, the lead cardiologist was there, and he just walked out afterwards, and he just literally just grabbed my dad. He goes, "Don't worry, nothing's gonna happen to him." And it was like, so yeah, but it's scary when you see it in movies, and Dad's like, "Yeah, that was you," kind of thing. Yeah, so.
So, and at what point did you realize, or did you realize that experience, that ongoing experience, is going to shape, what you're going to do in the future?
I think part of it. So the whole thing of starting a charity was never ever on my agenda. Never growing up. I just wanted to make the most of what I was given, and that I am healthy, and I just wanted to live my life and do things and go places and just enjoy. And like, so when we used to play sports and stuff like that, when we were growing up, people were like, just be careful kind of thing. For me, I was like, no, I want to try and push myself to the absolute limit to know that there is no limitation on me. And the flip side, if there is a limitation, I want to know what that limitation is. So then I can just safeguard myself growing up. But growing up, there was never any agenda. All it is, I wanted to give. When that time would come, that when I get a job, I was like, I would definitely give. My parents did the direct debits and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, when I grow up, I want to give. But that there was nothing more so than when the time comes, I will help. But I had no idea what that was going to be or when.
And what age were you when you had that thought that actually I want to start a charity?
I was 23. I just got my job. And yeah, so whilst we're at uni and stuff like that, we used to do bhangra and we used to do gigs and all that kind of jazz. And I was like, this would be so cool to turn into something. And I wasn't looking for a job or anything as well. I just thought, yeah, I've got a degree in engineering. This would be super. I'll get a job, no problem. With very, very naive that not doing any summer internships or anything. Again, we were gigging every weekend, making the most of wedding season. It was fantastic. There was never anything that I need to do this or that. I just thought, no, I've got a bachelor's, and then I was like, okay, in engineering, most people get a master's. I'll do a master's. Then I'll definitely get a job. And now, again, just didn't think of it at all. It was only when I finished my master's, I enlisted, halfway through, I did my exams, did my dissertation. I thought, I've got no experience here whatsoever. I've got to do something that makes my application stand out. And I enlisted in the army. So I did that for 4.5 years up until I was about 27. But at the same time, so that was with the reserves. And at the same time, I got my job. It was when I got my job and I started earning money and had my final checkup at Great Ormond Street. And then I was transferred to the Royal London Heart Hospital. Again, I have a checkup every 3 years now, which is good. Which, again, people criticise the NHS and stuff like that. But for someone like myself, I still am kept on the database, which is definitely important. But then, yeah, I remember going back to when I finished my last appointment at Great Ormond Street, I was like, wow, my journey here is done, but I don't want it to be done. And I just walked up to the desk and I said, look, I would like to make this donation. And they were like, really? I was like, yeah, I want to. So I felt that was like a really kind of a bit of a whole circle moment that my journey started. And it kind of is coming to an end in one aspect, but I don't want to forget that this is where I was. And it was kind of like from there, and then my nephew, bless him, fell sick quite a few years ago as well. And then I remember going to visit him also at Great Ormond Street as well, and seeing him in the ward and seeing my sister and my brother-in-law. It kind of put into perspective where he is, that was me, where they are, that was my parents. And that kind of thing was like, and then when you go onto the ward, you realize there's not just like 2 kids here.
Yeah, it's full.
It's full. And this is a whole hospital. So that's one disease, but unfortunately, someone's got this, someone's got that, someone's got something else. And you're just like, for me, and this is what we touched upon earlier, when I see something, I feel I can actually do something. Be something very, very small, but I will do what I can. And that's what happened. It was just like, something's not right here. And what can we do? And it was from that where then I kind of understood a bit more in how that charity for Great Ormond Street works and how other people have set up this fund and that fund and whatever have you, where I was just like, no, I don't want it to be that we give to 2 kids or just him, or for example, it needs to be for all the kids on this ward. And one day if we could do something for all the children, fantastic. But this is the whole thing of, let's not try and conquer the world tomorrow. It was, what can I do now for 5-6 kids, if that's what it's going to be. And that's where it all kind of came from.
And what age were you when you actually started it then?
Then, it was pretty much then and there.
How old were you then?
23.
Oh, so from the moment of kind of thinking that you want to do it, you actually started it quite soon after.
It was that very, we say, not even, it wasn't a reality check, it was just like, I'm not going to wait for tomorrow.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I thought there was a bit of time where you thought, okay, brilliant, okay.
No, it was just literally, I just remember being there. It was one of those moments where you have those kind of flashbacks. I'll never forget it. I was just like, I can't not do something. And so I just finished uni, so I just started working. So my nephew got diagnosed with, he had a tumor first in his intestine, which he beat. And then that's when we were still studying. That's it. Yeah, we were younger. That's when we were older, and then he went back in 3 years later, and he had leukemia because he'd been exposed to the chemotherapy when he was much younger. They made him susceptible to leukemia.
Okay.
He then had that, and he needed a bone marrow donor, and that's when that whole drive then came. Because the first one was like, there's not really much we can do.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, it's like, no, he needs something. And I was like, okay, if he needs something, and that's when the whole thing happened, that in our community, there's very, very few people on the donor drives, on the database, and there are all these outlets. But credit to my sister and my brother-in-law, they actually shared the story. They spoke about it. And this is what we touched upon very early. A lot of people go through this and they do not speak about it, especially in our communities. It's like, no, what if people find out the kid was ill? How they're going to get married in the future and this and that, or Mara and all this kind of crap. Where they were like, no, this is a story that needs to be shared, because again, when you go on the ward, there's lots of kids here. Yeah. And it's our community, unfortunately, that's the ones who are there and they don't have the help. They don't have matches. So it was like, okay, we've got to do something. And I just got my job and I gave my notice at my job, because it was like first job. I was like, I've got no mortgage to pay. I was living with mum and dad. Everything was fine. And credit my company, they said, look, no, there was a small boutique company. They were like, no, stay, work on it here. Whatever we can do to help you, we will help you. Don't go.
Very unique
like,
for a company.
I've never left.
Yeah.
I still work with the company now.
Amazing.
So literally 13 years ago that happened. I'm still there now.
Wow. At the beginning, did you actually know what you were doing when you were starting a charity?
No, you know what it was? So it was so that was around like I think late summer going into the winter. Sorry, autumn time going into winter, and I remember it was Christmas. So Christmas was around the corner, and I was like, no, let's do something for Christmas. And if cheesy as it is, if you remember in Home Alone 2, the movie, when they talk about Mr. Duncan in the toy store, and Mr. Duncan takes all the toys. I was like, you know what? How cool would it be if we all buy presents and take them to the hospital? And I was still very much in touch with my Bangladesh team at King's, and some of the guys were post-grad, and the ladies and everyone was there, and they were like, yeah, we'll help you. We want to do it as well. With the teams and stuff, as you know, and whoever has been in Bangladesh teams during uni, especially back then, 10, 15 years ago, you become very, very close. And you do know each other's families. Like, we're all still very close now. We were talking earlier about who's now married and children and everything as well. So I've known my friends from best part of 15, 16 years. And they've been very much a part of the journey as much as myself and my family. It's all about the network, who actually wants to support you. And I just said, look, let's go Hamleys. Let's go to Hamleys Toy Store. It's a cool toy store. It'll be a fun day out. It's central. Whoever's in East, whoever's in West, come from uni. I got my first Christmas bonus, and I spent it. That's basically what it was. There was no list. There was no nothing. It was just, no, let's do this. And I remember specifically, this is where the whole idea of the charity actually came from in the end then. So it was very much, let's just do this. It'll be a nice thing to do. And from the Bhangra team, one of the teammates was also the Sikh SOC at King's president. And they mentioned that, look, can you not share the pictures from the Bhangra team? And I was like, I'll just share it for myself, but why does that matter? And they mentioned that, look, some others in the Sikh SOCs or other Sikh SOCs wouldn't like that we are all together. I was like, but you're in the team. Like, what's that got to do with anything? It was ridiculous. But she was like, no, just trust me. I was like, look, I'm not going to put you in a bad position. But what I'll do, I'll just put it under another banner completely. So it's not Bhangra, it's not you, or Sikh Socks, whatever. It's Happy to Help. And that's where the name came from then. So we were between Here to Help and Happy to Help. Here to Help was already taken, so I was like, okay, no brainer. We're happy to help. And there's this thing when someone would say, thank you so much, and you just would naturally say, I'm happy to help, don't worry. So the name kind of had that bit of click to it, and that's where it came from. So when that project happened and the pictures were shared, it was done by a new entity. And the point which I was trying to make was, because there was a lot of nonsense that kind of happens of people who in the Bhangra teams are just typecasted as, you guys just go out, you party, you drink, you do this, you do that. It was like, yes, but we also study, and we're not, without swearing, I don't want to swear, we're not idiots basically as well, yeah? We have a good time. You guys do your thing. We're not criticizing you guys. And half the people in the Bhangra team will still go to Sikh Sock and go to Simrans and Simran Jams, all this kind of stuff. And so the presents that we bought that year, we took it to the Sikh Sock Simran that week, and everyone together wrapped and packed and got all the presents ready there. So it was a very beautiful thing. They would just say, look, there may be differences here, there, and wherever, but this is ridiculous that you can't mix and whatever have you. And that was just one part of it. I was like, I'm not going to have it. I haven't been raised that way, no way. And ultimately, I hated feeling discriminated against in that kind of sense as well. That someone thinks I'm a bad person just because I cut my hair and have clean shave, at the time anyway. I was like, no, you can be a prick as well, just because you're the way you are. It's not about that, right? Sorry for swearing, but those are kind of things where just like, no, it's ridiculous. We sometimes we say we feel discriminated against, and then I'm sure it happens in all communities. We internally discriminate as well. That again, that typical Asian kind of thing. It's like, no, I was like, I'm not having it. Not going to happen. And if you don't want to be a part of it, absolutely fine. You do your thing. But with the charity, so it came from that, and it was just, okay, let's just see what happens. And it was like, I just knew every year I was happy to do this kind of thing. And then it just grew from that point where people were like, that's fantastic. When you do it next year, please tell us. And then people started working. They're like, we'll take it to our workplace. They want to donate. And I was like, okay, let's see. And then Facebook and Instagram and these kind of things were there. I'm the worst when it comes to social media. But I was like, I'll share a post and let's see what happens. And thankfully, from then to now, raised over 100 grand and over 1,000 children sponsored and countless toys and the donor drives that we were doing. And I was going to plug it for like Delete Blood Cancer and Anthony Nolan Trust. And there's so many of these fantastic organizations. They come and do everything for you. So it's not that we are doing it. We just say, look, guys, we want to set up a donor drive at the Gurdwara on Vaisakhi or around Gurpurb or something, like when we know the footfall's high. They won't know that. We know that. And it's just, do you know people who are at the Gurdwara, other Sebedar or other people who know the committees and whatnot? And yes, you'll have hurdles along the way, but more often than not, they're like, yeah, look, do it. Here's the space. Absolutely fine. Because fundamentally, most Gurdwara do want to promote the Gurdwara as well. The whole point of it is open to all communities. And when you say, look, we're doing this for all children and all, everyone. Be transparent with them. You know, they're not getting a cut out of anything. That's very, very apparent as well. We say, look, this is Seva, it's not coming to the Gurdwara, sorry, but it's for the greater good overall as well. They're not going to say no to that. It's ridiculous. But that was another part of it that I really wanted to kind of channel into. Was I've been there, like the Vaisakhi and the square kind of bits and stuff as well. I remember, like, literally, I've been sitting with the two other guys who helped me start the charity from the beginning. A fella called Itminder, another guy called Angad, both Nihangs. And I remember we'd be standing there sometimes and other people would come and say hello to them, to kind of thing, and not say hello to me. And they were like, what you guys do for the charity is fantastic. And Ithi's an older gentleman, and he literally just say, you idiot, you know, it's actually him. So I was like, no, I really, really wanted to break through that kind of thing, that there's more to it kind of thing. It's not just we will just do this and kick it. No, it's a very fantastic thing. And it's very easy to get involved into, should you want to. If you don't want to, absolutely do your thing, no problem.
So that was right at the beginning. So now, like, what would you say Happy to Help does now? Like, what is it to people who don't know about the charity? Because there's so many elements to it, right?
So you're right. So carrying on from when it started to then when people really did want to get involved, and then it becomes a thing of being transparent and cash and all these things coming in. I was like, we never took cash donations, and we still try and limit it absolutely as much as we can, purely for the fact of we want it to be that if, for example, someone says, I want to donate £10, £15, it'll be like, look, what would you like to do with that? And they'll say, look, anyway, you put it where you think is good. But they might say, oh, look, I really want to be a part of the homeless food drive. So we're like, yeah, okay, great, fantastic. Let's go Iceland together. Let's go buy a bunch of sandwiches and stuff like that, and let's go hand them out. Like we grew up in Ilford, 32 years. We know where homeless people sit. It's just a reality of it. We know where they are. If that's what you want to do, just meet up, no problem, no cameras, none of that crap. Just go buy a bunch of sandwiches, give them out. Yeah. You'll feel great about yourself. Yeah. You did what you wanted to do. And we were very much about don't give cash. I remember I was in Peru for a project quite a long time ago, back in 2025. And
2025?
Oh, it was 2015. Sorry, God, 2015.
Not over 2025.
Yeah, no, sorry, 2015. And our guide, he goes, look, you'll see some things out here that are going to look very, very upsetting to you. But he goes, ultimately, the kids and the people here don't know anything else. This is normal for them. So that was another kind of home truth where you think these kids don't have anything. But for them, especially as a child, they think they've got everything. That's where, so that was one part of it, sorry, without digressing too much. But he said, no matter what happens, do not give them money. He said, because if you've got chocolate, if you've got a snack, if you've got a T-shirt, something like that, give them something like that. Okay. Don't give them money. They won't understand money. And a lot of the times, unfortunately, in their household, there'll be someone who will use that money for something else. Yeah. Or they'll ask, where did you get that money from? Did you steal that money? So it's like, for us, that was a very big thing of, if we cannot give cash, so every project that we do now, we ask, what is it that you need? And then when that time comes, if we need to fundraise for it, that's when I realized, okay, we have to set up an account. And then it was, okay, if we're going to set up an account, we've got to set up a charity account. If we're going to set up a charity account, what do you have to go through to do that? And that's when I realized, okay, we've got to register. So that process then we didn't rush it, because what we did do while we were fundraising, as you know, we used Just Giving a lot. So again, at the same time, it was a case of, we're not going to use the money. It's not going to come to myself or any of us directly. It will go into a platform. You can put your name there. You can put your amount there. Do whatever you want. It comes into there. We would allocate the Just Giving account to a charity, Great Ormond Street, or we did Help for Heroes, I think Delete Blood Cancer as well. So, and then we would be in contact with those charities, say, look, we want to make sure that money, I appreciate you guys have admin fees and overheads and maintenance and blah, 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 but people have not given money for you to paint the walls. So that money, once you've got it and it's come through, tell us, and we will go and then buy, or whatever you guys tell us to buy, whatever you think is an actual necessity. And that's where it kind of went through that whole process, basically.
When did you register the charity?
We registered in 2018, in August, I believe, because I got married in September. So I'm pretty certain it registered just before that. And that took a good 6-7 months just of the application going in. You do your constitution, which is like a set format and everything, and you get your trustee team. And this, I think, so in order to register, you have to have valid funds within the account. And my director at the company that I still work for, who is now retired, he's the one who fronted the money for it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So yeah, the £5,000 that was needed to register, he put it in.
So you have to have 5,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you've got to show a balance of 5K in your account.
Wow.
And he fronted that money from his family as a donation, and now he's one of our trustees as well.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So with now the charity now, I've seen a lot of pictures of the stuff you do abroad, which I think is actually phenomenal. How much do you do in the UK, and how much of the...
It's pretty much a 50-50 split. I would say the whole thing with India and Punjab, and specifically our parents, Sarod, which is where my paternal family is all from, all happened very naturally. So Carl said we worked with for quite a long time as well. And one of the one of the drives to register was when I met Kanwar Singh is Ravi's nephew, I believe Ravi Singh's nephew, and we did a presentation. We were at a university. A university. It wasn't a fundraiser. It was just like an event, a charity event by. They were called. Hopefully, it'll come back to you. The name of the organisation that put that event together. But it was us at Happy to Help. There was Khalsa Aid. There was Seva 84. And I believe there was one more charity there presenting as well. And just after that event had finished, he just said, "Look, man, what you guys do is fantastic." He was so awesome, honestly, because it was really refreshing to have someone from Khalsa Aid, who are world-renowned, incredible charity with what they do, and just come and say, "Look, what you guys do is awesome." And he went, "Just don't get into the politics, all of it." But he goes, "If you need any help, if you need the templates for the content, if you need this or that or the other, just call me and I'll send it to you." And I was like, "Really?" He was like, then he said, because it's not as difficult to do. He's like, you don't have to do these documents by scratch. The commission, the charity commission has the templates.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you just select the structure that you want your organization to be. And then from there, you build your trustee team, you show your account, so and so forth. And that's when we made the decision that we would be a foundation. So we are the Happy to Help Foundation, and that then is an underlining type of charity. Otherwise, you can be other types as well, where you basically then will show your revenue and you show you've got staff and you show how much you're paying the staff and how much is ins and outs. So
Foundation is different?
Yes, yeah. Foundation was very much that. So we don't have any staff. So our tax return, and this would be about being transparent and everything, is so easy for us because our revenue, 0, staff costs, 0, overheads, 0. We pay the overheads. As a charity, we cover our own overheads. So we have very little. We obviously have a little home office, but like the public liability insurance is just running the accounts. If we do an event like the football tournaments, for example, we book the pitches. We've worked with power leagues for so long now, they give us a massive discounted rate. Someone might come and sponsor. Just say, "Don't worry, I'll sponsor the pitch cost for you." And then you've got match giving schemes from work and stuff like that. So we say, "Okay, if I put in that £200, they'll say, 'Yeah, don't worry, we'll do it,' and just flip it. So we've bought the pitches for you, you put your 200. It's little things like that, but they make so much help. And yeah, so it went from that in the UK being set up and everything. Sorry to digress again, but with India, so we saw the schools that Carl said were running and everything like that. I was like, this is fantastic. And I hadn't been back to India in a little while. We used to go all the time because my entire dad's family's there, and partly in Canada, but most were over there. So growing up, we used to go every Easter holiday. We used to go to India for a long time. And then we got a bit older, then exams and uni, blah, blah, kick in. So yeah, as well, I was like, I want to go to Amritsar and I want to do this. And Dad was like, we've got this school in the Print. I was like, I knew there were schools in the Print. I had no idea. Yeah, what about it? He was like, no, your Baba expanded it and was part of the thing. I was like, what? And he was like, yeah. So then Dad explained to me when my boys, my dad's sisters, were growing up a little bit, school wasn't mandatory for them to continue. But he wanted them to. My Baba actually wanted his daughter to keep going to school. But there was no classrooms.
What's it for the
for
boys?
Girls.
Boys, it was
for
mandatory.
Boys you could continue. But for girls, after a certain point, it basically was like, no, you don't have to continue.
Okay.
And this is going back probably
a while ago, yeah.
60s, 70s. And so he was like, no, I want them to just, if they can stay in school for a bit longer, I don't want to grow up that quickly. Like, no, it's just stay in school. And then with his contacts and everything within the Brand, they put together some funds and built 2 new classrooms.
Okay, nice.
And that school then became a government-funded school in the future and stuff like that. And he was like, that school's there. I was like, you've never mentioned that ever, kind of thing. And so it was like, okay, I went back to India for the first time by myself. And I went, and this was such a fun trip. Because like my cousins were all older, they were all roughly the same age, and they've got their own cars and we're driving and doing this, that, and the other. And we could do ourselves. So it was like, okay, so I called my granddad and he was like, yeah, okay, I've called the Sarpanch, who was like the village chief, if you want to put it in English terms. And he was like, yeah. So he was a Sarpanch, I'll call him, go see him. And then his son is now the Sarpanch. I was like, okay, go see him. And he was like, okay, I'll go to the school. So nothing gets done in India without having contacts. Yeah. And it's about who you know. You'll know someone who says, yeah, I know everyone, blah, blah, blah. You get them, they get slapped from someone. So yeah, it's about who you actually know and who they actually know kind of thing. And again, when it comes down to being transparent with money and all of that kind of stuff, you can't give money to someone in, I'm sorry, unless you really wholeheartedly know where it's going to go, don't. All right? You've got to try and, so while I was there, it was like, okay, let's go. Took me to the school, explained who I was. He was like, oh my God, you're his grandson. Yes. And then went through that process. And then they explained to us that, yes, although they're a government-funded school, what tends to happen, and it's that typical thing, you will have, say, for example, a family who's got 3 children, the government funding will cover 1 child. It won't cover all 3 children. So we were like, how's that? And they were like, it is what it is. So we said, okay, where that gap is, how much is it? And it's peanuts. Like 15, 20 pounds a kid, for example, for the year. And you're like, really? I'm like, yeah. So between that, the first time that we sponsored a set of children, maybe about 30, 40 kids, £200, £250, but that's for the year. That covered their uniform, their bags, their exam fees, everything.
So the government funds one, and then they'd have to pay out of their pocket for the other ones.
If
they can, yeah. So a lot of them, I'm guessing, would struggle, right?
So what would normally happen is the children who couldn't go to school would then be put into work. So they'll be doing just whatever jobs they can find. And it is what it is in India. It's not. This is in loads of places in Asia and Africa. So what we then said was, okay, to the school, to the principal sub, tell us which families, because they know which kids unfortunately are very, very poor or have poor families, let's say. And we said to them, okay, tell us which families they are. We'll buy them a year's supply of atta or rice or something like that. So while the kid is there, there's no pressure that income, although it may be a tiny bit, it still helps that household. Definitely. So what was that going to be used for? It will be used for this. Oh, okay, no problem. We'll do that as well. But it's not a lot. This is the thing. It seems like it's a lot when people see the charity, and it's fantastic. I'm glad people think, because that's what our whole drive is. A very little can go a very, very long way. 10, 15 pounds can do so much. You can go buy 10 sandwiches from the shop. It doesn't have to, again, say if you want to give a homeless person, bless them, some food, you don't have to take them into, I don't know, Toby Carvery and give them a full buffet meal. Just get them a sandwich. £1, £2. Just get them a cheese tomato sandwich. It's better than nothing.
Yeah, certainly.
And that was our other part of it, was sometimes people come to us and we want to do a project, and they were like, I don't know how much I'm going to raise. I'm like, that's not a problem. You don't have to tell anyone how much you raised. It's not about that. They're like, no, like what if we only raised like, I don't know, £100? I'm like, that's still £100. Yeah. If someone gave you £100, would you not be happy with £100? It's still something. And this thing of like, it has to be huge and it has to be big and grand and blah, blah. You realize it's not about that. It's, if you can just do something that's very small, anyone who's got a level head, which is the vast majority of people, will be like, that's a really nice thing. A really nice thing, there's no like levels to that. It's a really nice thing.
So do you have like ongoing projects?
Yes.
Or are there ones that, you kind of think, okay, this is a project we're going to start, it starts and then it kind of ends and then there's another project?
No, so with the charity the way it is, and with our trustee team and our day-to-day lives and everything, like I said, we've all got day jobs. Again, with the whole transparency part of the whole thing, we always emphasize we've all got day jobs. No one takes a single cut out of this. Everything that we do is from seva, effectively. So with the projects that we run, we know the projects now after the best more than 10 years now of how they work, when they would actually be effective in the time of year, and how much funds we have coming in and how much they're going to cost and how do we fundraise for them. So because of that, it's quite nice that we know and we do it by quarter. So yes, we do some ad hoc projects if somebody comes with an idea or something arises, and we can come to some of those ones. But we are not a natural disaster or a humanitarian charity. It's not what we do. It's not what we specialize in. We are, and how we summarize it, we are a medical and educational support fund. Be it here, India, Africa, wherever we can actually get our supplies to, that is what we do. So if it's in the medical field, like we said, with Great Ormond Street, or Delete Blood Cancer, Anti-Nolan, we will run the drives, we'll ask what equipment, the equipment even at the hospital, it can be, there's a brand called Baby Einstein, which everyone sees, which is great for children's cognitive development and stuff like that. A lot of these children, when they're at the hospital, don't go to school. And unfortunately, kids relapse. There'll be a baby like myself when they had their first treatment, but they might be 5, 6, 7, 8, there's even teenagers sometimes. Unfortunately, they then have to come out of school and they're there. So the hospital is incredible because they do have staff, they have tutoring staff, they have people who come and help. So when the child does go back in, God willing, to school, they haven't missed.
Yeah.
They can go back in. And in this day and age, it's so difficult. Like we're taking our little one to schools now to get him into reception. Their kids are using iPads and all this, that, and the other. You're like, this is crazy. So it was that kind of bit. Sorry, what was the question initially? That's why I digress. We talk about what are we talking about? Sorry, we talk about the.
I can't remember what the question was now. I asked it so long ago. Like ongoing projects or
sorry,
projects.
ongoing projects. Sorry, apologies. So with India, we know when the exam time is coming up. We know when the academic year is going to end. So we say, okay, first quarter, the drive is for that. That we will do because and we know as a family. Either my dad or myself or someone goes back to India every year. The weather's fantastic. My dad loves it. He's retired. Home. We have our family home is there. And again, honing in on the transparency part of it, we hold whatever the cash donation is. It's with us the whole step of the way. Even with the school, we then say to them each time, give us the list of the children so we know how many there are, who is your uniform supplier, size of shoes up until we'll say, and then we go to the supplier. And we've been there for so many years now, even they'll say, oh, you know what, even from us, just take another 10, take these sports shoes that we've got going now as well. We're like, all right, fantastic. So we will do that. And my chacha's son is there, my bua's sons are there. So again, it is a family-run project there. And that doesn't mean other people can't get involved in it. Obviously they can, but it's just for peace of mind. I know personally, as founder of the charity, and ultimately I'm responsible and accountable for every penny of it, I know where it is. Yeah. And people who know me, I don't lie. It's and that's how I've been raised. If I've effed up and I've made a mistake on something, I will say, and I do my job, and we, again, very great mentorship, even in the professional world. If you make a mistake, say, I'm sorry, this happened, because you deal with it a lot quicker that way. Otherwise, you try and cover up one mistake or you try and cover up a lie or something like you'll just tell it on and on. And long story short, it'll come out at the end. Yeah. And it'll be much, much worse at that on the backside of it. So it's like if errors occur, we all make mistakes. That's how you learn and stuff like that. So for us, I know I can be absolutely confident deep down that I know where it's going and I can track it through. And Western Union is fantastic for sending funds, and the rates are brilliant on rupees even now. The current, it's brilliant. So so first quarter is genuinely that. Then between, let's say, the middle part of the year, the next quarter 2 and quarter 3, we'll do the football tournaments, and if we can get a donor drive or something like that. We do dress down days at work. The weather gets a bit better. We can do themes and blah blah blah. It works quite nicely, and then wintertime ends up being. So the peak season for charitable time is Christmas period. People are a lot more giving. Just in general, people are more giving. People are getting bonuses, and people are just spending quality time. And people are just a lot more giving during the Christmas period. Hence why the Christmas project that we run is so successful. And that essentially is like how our timeline works. So again, it's 4 projects over the year, but it's very self-sufficient. We know how much direct debits we have coming in. We know how much these projects are going to cost. We know when our team are going to be in specific places. As busy as the Christmas period is, we know that summer's the lull because it's people on holidays, it's wedding season. So people have got commitments already during that time. So we know there's just no point bothering people during that. Not bothering, but there's no point even trying to promote too much during that time because people are busy. People are doing their thing. That's the one part which we are trying to, or I've always kind of brainstormed getting into, is that wedding, what's it called? The wedding, not necessarily the season, business. Basically. So harshly, there's three businesses or sectors, let's say, that are always ever on the rise. Babies, people always having children. Weddings, people always getting married. And death, people always passing away. And along those three kind of sectors, if you are a successful business in those sectors, it's fantastic. So what we've always kind of thought is we help for children as much as we can. With the elderly, that's what we would love, really, really love, if we could do something that makes that final period in someone's life comfortable. My brother, being a doctor, has worked in palliative care and he's worked in hospices, and we've been to hospices as well. It's tough. It's incredibly tough. So if you can make that final transition of someone's life peaceful, especially with elderly, again, the way I was raised, I'm very close with my grandparents. My wife is very, very close with her grandparents. Like, so if you, sometimes when you see another baba, you see another bibi, it's you can just naturally connect with them sometimes. Like, you'd be like, I'll hold your hand, bibi, come, let's go up the stairs, kind of the Gurdwara, for example, something small like that. And they in turn naturally will give you so many dua because they're like, thank you, but. So if we can do that, it'd be great. But the wedding sector is so successful. And like when we were doing gigs and we were doing playing dole and we were doing bhangra sets at weddings, when the charity first started, I would basically say, look, this is what, great, we've agreed on that. And so like this, we're at university, this is what we actually do. And each dancer kicks in a $5, for example. And they were like, oh, really? For what? We say, for this. And they're like, oh, here's another £100, here's another £200. Or what else can we do? When are you doing the British 10? Oh, sorry, the British 10K. And the Spartan runs and stuff like that. They tend to happen in the September period. So we have like a sporty kind of 4 or 5 month window. They were like, we'll join you.
I hate running, and you maybe do it. Oh, and actually, to be fair, it wasn't that bad. That's the only time. Oh, actually, I did one after that. So I've done 2, and only because of you.
But that's the thing, right? So and this the fun part of it is that, like you said, you did it in that year. Someone else gets in touch the next year. So like, oh, I missed it last. Can I do it? Can we do it this time? Or we've done Spartan. Can we do Tough Mudder now? All right, great. Let's do it. We've done Spartan. We've done that. Can we do nuclear now? Okay, let's do nuclear. So it just tends to be. It doesn't have to be a team of 15, 20 people. 2, 3 of us. I would say on average is my friend Ikjot and I. It's usually us two. But like you've done it, Mandeep's done it. A few of our other friends have got involved. So it tends to be, I would say, every year or every other year, somebody will get in touch. And that's been the very nice, natural thing about the charity, is that as much as we promote it, and I say promote, we do I would say the minimum compared to what other brands and people do. It's not us. Very, very openly. I can't sit there and try and market, and it's a fantastic skill for people who are actually good at it. It's not me. And we don't have anyone yet who has volunteered to do it. If someone wants to volunteer, by all means, feel free to try and take it in that direction. But with where it is, it runs quite nicely and it's very, very comfortable. But with the projects that we do, somebody will come forward. It just tends to be every year without us having to say, somebody will get in touch and say, well, oh, I love what you guys did. Or what tends to happen, and this is what we try and what we initially were trying, somebody who has maybe has just followed the charity for a number of years, not really engaged too much, but unfortunately someone in their family or someone they know has got cancer, let's say, or has something, or their child's not well. They will then get in touch and say, look, what did you do? What do we do? And it's like, that's what I wanted, in the sense that people can feel comfortable coming to us. And a lot of the time, a lot of people want to do something, but they don't know where to start.
With the charity, you can actually visibly see the difference that you make, like with the children in the school. And so what does like impact, so direct impact, like mean to you? But how do you kind of measure that? Like, how do you measure if that project has been a success or what it means to you?
Oh, so again, the overlap with my day job as a project manager is when you set yourself goals, they need to be realistic, they need to be measurable, and when you achieve it, it's by what measure are you actually achieving it by? And that's what we say. So say, for example, the kids at the hospital or the kids that we sponsor with their academics, we ask the school, have these children done well in their studies? First and foremost, yes, they actually completed the year. That's a big tick. A lot of these children wouldn't even complete the year. Have they come back the following year? Yes, we will continue sponsoring those children who have come back. If any children have not continued on, why didn't they continue? So it's having those parameters very, very clear that if it's a lot of pride in that. If we helped a child start their educational journey, and if they complete it if they complete the whole educational, those 4 or 5 years that they have, we can track it. That's a beautiful thing to see, that we helped a child actually complete that first set of education that they probably wouldn't have done. That's one way of measuring it. Obviously, when we do the donor drives and stuff like that, we know exactly how many people we've registered. We have the logs. It's been just over 550 that we managed to do, and during that quite a concentrated period a few years ago, with the hospital and the toys and that element of it, we know exactly what we're buying. We know how many children are on those wards, and bless them, if they don't come back the following year, or if they're not there the following year, kind of thing. At least we know during that period. That we lit up their room.
Made them happy, as well.
We made them happy.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, what people don't, not necessarily they don't understand, but they don't realize from the get-go. A lot of people say, like you said, why Great Ormond Street? There are so many hospitals, and all hospitals are fantastic. And if we could do more, and if there were other hospitals that people wanted to nominate and say, look, this hospital is actually fantastic for this specific thing, great. But with Great Ormond Street and the amount they do, and for the prolonged period of time that children are there for treatment, their families are there. They might have other siblings as well. And let's say, for example, an older sibling who is still trying to go to school, and one parent's still trying to go to work, and the other parent is in the hospital. If you can give relief for a moment that they forget, and that it's Christmas. Yes, we're Punjabi and we're Sikh, and I totally appreciate that some people don't do the whole Christmassy thing, but that vibe for, let's say, the majority of people in this country kind of thing, it's special. It's magical. Kids love Christmas. As a parent now, we love Christmas because we get to experience it again through our children, that excitement in the day. If you can do that, it's gold dust. Yeah. Honestly, if you can do that, because we can't go on the wards now since COVID and everything. Okay. Yeah.
Still carries on. It's not that okay.
So since those safeguards were put into place, because infection, especially then, was so scary, we still carry on doing the projects during COVID and stuff. They were still working. We still carried on doing it. Our structure for the project just changed and made it more accessible, because we couldn't go to the toy stores anymore during that period. Where we made it an online wish list, and again, just makes it more accessible, that you can buy and you can have it delivered to your home, you can have it delivered to our office, you can bring them yourselves. You can again, we'll do it for you. But those kind of very black and white measures are there to see impact. If they weren't there, we would question what we were doing. But I know deep down, someone gave me £1 and I took 100% of that £1 and put it where it needed to go. And it's very, very clear. No one can question of where did 50p go. It's there. And when someone says, what's the impact? It was only £1. Look, it was a lot. It was so much. For someone, it's so much.
Because you would classify Happy to as a small charity,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
What's the big differences between like small and you know the big charities, the ones that kind of you see everywhere and everyone kind of knows about? What's the big differences you say?
Ultimately, the bigger charities, they have staff.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, sure. They have staff, and people do this for their job. And it's actually really good you asked this question, because there was a period when I thought, you know what, I was loving running the charity. Absolutely. I was like, I could do this every day because it's just that fantastic feel to it. I was like, I can do this every day. I was like 26, 27, it's like 3 years into it, 4 years into it. And I really thought about it. I was like, let me register it and let's go for it and so on and so forth. And then I remember doing a few projects here and there. And there's a very fine line between seva, as we say, and your job being charity. And in my opinion, with what the feedback I got from within the community was they don't understand if you take a salary out of it. They physically want, they're like, let the seva, they come, well, like, this is seva, why are you doing that? I was like, no, but it's my job. It would not hone in on a lot. And then even to myself, I was like, I have a job. Yes, it wasn't I wasn't getting paid grand amounts at the time, but I wasn't paying a mortgage or anything at that time either. So I was like, are my needs being met? Yes. Is the charity running the way we kind of want it to? Yes. Could it be more? I suppose the answer would be yes, but what would change for that to happen, for it to be more? And the more I thought about it, and just speaking to my family and everything, especially, like, I am very, very close with my family, like immensely close. And we, even from day one when we were growing up, we would talk to each other a lot at home. It wasn't that you just sit and watch the television and stuff. Yeah, we obviously watched the football, but we did talk a lot. And my dad just said to me, look, man, ultimately, and he goes, I think you will sleep a lot better just knowing that you're not taking anything from it. He went, the decision's yours. Ultimately, if you want to set it up as a business, and then you have to realize, if you do set up a larger charity, it is a business.
Yeah.
It is a business. It's nothing. Yes, the output of that business is that they help people, but the people who come knocking on your door and stuff, asking for donations and stuff like that, they're employees.
They're paid, yeah.
A lot of people don't do it. I'm sorry. A lot of people don't do it out of the goodness of their heart.
Yeah.
They go into the sector because they want to have that I'm doing something worthwhile in what I do as a day job, and you have that feel good fact that at least, okay, I'm getting paid to do a job, but I'm doing something that I love. Fantastic. Yeah. If you get that feeling from it, credit to you. But for us, it's like at that moment in time, if the charity, and this is the thing, I think the other bit that hit home was that the charity and everything feels fantastic because it was like it was an outlet. It was away from work. It was a way of seeing people and meeting new people and having new experiences and doing something fun together. Like I think with the charities, people think it's like, oh, it's like you're doing depressing, dark things all the time, or you're like rebuilding homes, which is fantastic if people want to do that. We're doing football tournaments. We're doing long, like a Spartan run, or like we're traveling. So I ended up going to China for a little bit. I went to Peru for a little bit. It was like, physically, I'm going to challenge myself and push myself to the absolute limits in certain elements. And then we would send those pictures while we were in China back to the hospital or back to who we were helping. Say, look, we're here today. We're doing this. And even they were like, oh, wow, this is great. And it was like, okay, let's do that. But it was fun because it's not work. The second something becomes work and you've realized now you've got people and staff and overheads and all these bits to cover and targets to hit every month to keep doing what you're doing, it's not fun. Unless you have an incredible stream of luck or you hit the lottery and you say, yeah, the money's there and no problem. Like, we don't even have to do a project this year. It's there. I can just cover it and I'll keep paying my staff, no problem. The second you become in that structure, I think it would have been very, very difficult.
Because I think with the big businesses, big charities, it's just about business. Yeah. There's a lot of controversy around it. Because even I've thought about it a lot where, you know, some of the CEOs, you know, their salaries are like hundreds of thousands. Yeah. And then the other thing you hear is that, you know, for every, I don't know, £10 you donate, for example, it could be £6 or £7 is actually like admin or operational costs. Yeah. And which I know the flip side, because some people I've heard, they say, oh, but, you know, we got the CEO from a bank or something. Yeah. And he's going to generate, because of his expertise, we're paying him 500 grand because he's going to generate millions.
This is exactly it.
But, you know, sometimes you think, what actually costs that much?
This is what we say. It's a very fine line. Yeah. This is you either understand it or you don't understand it, kind of thing. And it's like, say for example, I said if they brought in a CEO who's on like I don't know £200,000 salary, which is what happens, right? These guys come from banks or whatever have you, in worked in Canary Wharf, and they're like, this is what I get paid. But he will say, or she will say, we will generate £20 million, and you were only generating £5 million before, but we'll generate £20 million
and reduce waste and reduce.
We'll do all of this fantastic stuff, and after all, say for example, if 30% of that is what's being donated, it's still £6 million. Whereas before you were only donating £1 million, let's say for example. So it's like it's a business. You've got to think of it as it is a business. It's just their output it's helping people, which is great. This means if you understand it, I think our generation and younger do get it, but a lot of people in the older generations wouldn't get it.
Because with them, obviously, as you said about people knocking on the doors and stuff like that, they get paid. So that's the fundraising part. Because I know that some of the companies spend a lot. Yeah. Obviously, you don't do that. No. What's the hardest thing about fundraising on your side of things? Obviously, all the great events you do, but I guess that's quite challenging.
Yeah, right? Because we don't do that many. Like I said, we've got 4 or 5 core projects that we do, and the vast majority of them, they don't require insane amounts of manpower. Like literally a team of 1 to 5 can achieve what we do. The learning curve has been of when to do the projects. Like I mentioned, when we know that summer period is just it's a no-go for it kind of thing. But we know it was more difficult at the time knowing how much how much we would need to run them. Now we know it, and that I said the challenges are more so in those first 4 or 5 years of understanding who is your target audience, and when to do the projects. What's the best way to actually promote the projects? The social media tools then were quite new. I don't really use them any differently to how I used them back then, and that speaks for the level of the charity that it is, we are a small charity. But people who, I suppose, understood those algorithms and the way to push marketing and advertisement have it killed it. They're so far ahead with let's say the industry of social media now. You can make it whatever you want at the end of the day. Those were, I would say, the more difficult period. Whereas now, even our target audience when we started, like I said, I was 23 when we started. I'm 36 now, but the people that we work with, the vast majority of it is still the same people from 13 years ago to now. The avenues that are now open to us are different because the same people who were doing grad schemes and looking for jobs at that time are now in work, and they've got lives, they had their own experiences. They're actually more able to do more now than they were actually back then. The difficult part for us is that we would still love to engage with that younger generation now. And I suppose that would be one of the things that if we did want to go back to or let's say upscale further, is trying to engage with that younger coming out of uni, looking for jobs, have time on our hands, want some experience, want to put something nice on our CVs and stuff like that. It's re-engaging with that, I would say, is probably a goal/challenge now. Luckily, we don't have that many problems because of the scale that we are. Like we openly say, we are we'll hold on it. We are a small charity. There's not 20 people as part of our core team. It's 4 of us, one of which is my wife. So we can plan together on an evening and have a quick Teams call or a quick WhatsApp, and then, as you know, I just have a WhatsApp broadcast list, and whenever we do something, just push it out, and out of however many contacts on there, 2 or 3 people will say, "Oh, when's the next one?" Or "I'm doing this," or "Our work's doing this," and that's where it comes. And when we registered, that also helped. When the charity number actually came through, before nobody would take you seriously. Kid, what are you doing? Where's your account? All this kind of crap, and you were like, "Okay, like that's cool." And then so much fun proving all those people wrong. At the same time, like, you can't do it like that. I'm like, I'll do it. Watch, I'll physically go and do it, and I'll come back. And I did it. And that was, again, when you mentioned about the drive part of it, if I know I can do something, I will do it. it'll be difficult. I'm not saying that I find it very, very easy to do it. I am broken sometimes, just exhausted. But if someone says you can't do it, I'd love saying I will do it.
Is there a place for big charities and small charities to kind of coexist, or do you think small charities just get kind of overlooked just because everyone knows everything about the big charities, or is kind of always in their face that the smaller ones?
Two-part on that. I would say one, a lot of people don't like going to the bigger charity because it's not as transparent and they don't know where their funds. They have very little say in where their donation goes. It's very much you donate and they just say, look, respectfully, we will allocate the funds where they need to go. Whereas with us, it's the complete opposite. We're saying, don't give us cash. What do you want to do? And we'll help you do it. So a lot of people like that. The second part is we are not in competition with anyone. If, for example, we work a lot with SEVA, the charity based in Ilford, Sikh and Parent Welfare Awareness Association, I believe they're called, and they do the homeless food drives every single Tuesday without fail by the Fitness First. We don't say we're going to set up another food drive around the corner to you, you do it. So if someone says to us, we're based in East London, we really want to do something for the homeless, we know the trustees of that charity for many years now. Just give them a call, say, look, guys, and bless them, they've already got the entire year booked. 52 bookings of people already saying, can we do this one? Can we do this one? We do 2 to 4. It's an incredible organization. Again, they would, in my opinion, they would humbly say, yes, we're a small charity. But they smash it. 52 homeless food drives, week in, week out, rain, shine, they're there. And for us, it's like, we just want to work with these people. If someone says, there's that, or they say someone's fallen sick, what do? We don't know how to do the donor drives. I'm coming, don't worry, I'll do it. I'll call up my contacts and they'll provide all the equipment, all the trained staff. Because that's the thing, you got to realize the people who do the bone marrow donor registrations and stuff, they're trained. There's a protocol that they've got to follow. They've got to do the checks on people who, bless, some people do want to register, but they can't if they're diabetic or a certain age or have other medications, whatever that they're on. But these other charities will send, they'll just say, let's agree a date and we'll be there. So we are in competition with absolutely no one, which again makes our life a lot more pleasant. If somebody then, and vice versa, people would then come and say from another charity that this person has heard about you guys, or they want to do a Spartan run. We thought, rather than doing it by themselves, why don't you do it for Happy to Help? They'll run with you. That's how we like to work.
Because talking about transparency, there's a lot more awareness now about that, and there's one of the charities that my wife, both of us donate to, that it's an animal shelter where actually they say what they're desperately in need of that month. So then you can actually just order. They have like a page. Either you can buy it and send it, as long as there's specific things. Like for example, there's say the influx of kittens, so they like more kitten food, or the flea medication. So actually, exactly what's going on. So do you think that just transparency and everything is probably one of the most important things that people are thinking about now, right?
Especially in charity. Especially in charity, is, in my opinion, is the absolute bedrock. You have to be transparent. Because people want to see, people are a lot more aware now. Whereas before you just give and you say, you have to put a lot of trust. And you hear things of happening which trust then breaks completely. And it can take many, many years to build the trust, and it can take 1 minute for it all to go out the window as well. So to consistently show transparency, and that's what it comes to, consistently show. Don't just do it once and then hide it. Consistently show your books if someone asks for them. Consistently post your books when you do your charity commission stuff and you do your tax returns every year. Show to the penny. People will then believe you. And that's what we do. Like I said, I just do it by WhatsApp. It's nothing huge. We do the broadcast. This is how much money was raised. We don't say, we say, here's the charity account number. It's on our websites, on the pages, whatever have you. Pay it there. Don't give cash or anything like that. When we do the football tournaments, bless the lads say, look, here's the cash. I'll say, okay, fine. I'll make the donation from my account into the account in front of you. You see it. You have to do that.
And what would you say to someone who maybe because of broken trust or the stuff that heard from before is now skeptical about donating to kind of any charity.
Mm-hmm.
They probably inside really want to, but they're just skeptical. What would you kind of say to them? Like, you know,
Comes back to the very first thing that we were saying with our charity. If there's an idea that you have, you want to do it, tell us, we'll come with you and we'll do it. Don't give us any of the money. Whatever you want to do, if we can support it. Let's say if it's something that we can actually support. So I would, like you said, on the animal shelter element, now that you've mentioned it, if somebody ever gets in touch with us, I'll say, oh, you know what, I know someone, they work with this charity, we can do that. But prior to that, I would say, look, it's not something that I do. It's something that we as a charity do. We can help you do the research and build the relationships and approach another charity as a charity, which we can do, no problem. But we'd say, look, this is something someone wants to do, but is very skeptical about it. My opinion, do it yourself.
no, fair enough. And talking about now the future of Happy to Help, what does it look like in the next 5 to 10 years? Where would you say Happy to Help would you want it to be?
The way it is now, I would say it's very nice. It runs, people who see it, people who have engaged with it can continue to engage with it. It's at a level that is very practical and natural to run. In addition to day life, which is family, which is the most important.
That balance is right, yeah.
So at the minute, the balance is perfect. The way the charity has grown over the last 13 years now, it's been organic. It's never been, we have to do this next year, we have to do this within 2 years or 5 years, whatever have you. It's a case of someone naturally, organically will get in touch. If they don't, it's absolutely fine. We've got the funds in the account. We still have the projects that we run. The only way for it to get any bigger, which we have, humbly speaking, zero aspirations to do. It's nice. Like I said, the projects that we run, we know that they're successful and we just want them to continue being successful. We find as though sometimes you try and upscale too quickly, you lose your balance of just how the charity runs in itself.
The values, I'm guessing, like balancing growth with sustaining the values.
Balancing growth with just the output of it. Like you might, unless you've actually got those tools to logically achieve what your next goal is going to be. If I don't have the skill set to actually go and say I want to raise 100 grand next year, there's no point in me trying to do that. We know as a team what we are capable of and how that works. Unless somebody actually said, or another group of people said, look, this is our network and this is how it works and this is what we think we can do. Brilliant, let's do it. Let's try and build something over that. Above and beyond that, the amount of money which we do raise every year, which ranges between £3,000 and £4,000, £5,000, if we can do that consistently over the next 5 years, we raise another £25,000, £30,000. It's brilliant. That's 30 grand going straight in. And when you think of it in context to when you think of the bigger charities and the admins and everything, it's the equivalent of like £100,000, pretty much.
How do you stay motivated, you think, after all these years now? Because you keep on going. I don't see any flagging.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's so much fun doing it as well. Like that 10, 15 minutes sometimes, and even if it's a work day, and we know that we've got a project running, it gives purpose a lot of the time as well. Like I said, with me being with my health condition when I was born and everything like that, going back to Great Ormond Street once a year is like my everything. Just being there again, just seeing the signs and everything outside. We're Sikh. I'm not a baptized Sikh, right? Obviously, I don't have long, I don't have Dardi, I'm not Amritchak. I have a lot of faith in God, though. And I think that's a fundamental part of myself, is that I have faith. I acknowledge how lucky I am because of God, and I will forever be grateful in that sense. And now, especially being a married man, having a child, we want, my wife and I, we want our child, especially to grow up in an environment with what we are doing is normal. The charity, we want it for him, and God willing, we have more children. We want it to be that this is normal, giving and doing these kind of things is normal. So they don't, that's how we want it to be for them. So then they grow up and it's part of their personality as well. And fundamentally, the biggest thing that you can contribute, and we say to all of our donors and everyone, is your time.
Yeah.
You can give all the money in the world, yeah, but actually giving your time, you're never ever going to get that back. So if you can say, in my day, I spent, even if it's just 20 minutes, whatever, but those 20 minutes, it was so worth it.
Yeah, because that's what I was actually going to ask you is for advice for people who would say, you know, do you have to have money to make a difference?
Oh,
that's actually a really good
so
time, isn't it?
I call him my mentor because he was such a supportive figure and still is. It's been one of our trustees, and he said, someone made a big donation one year. It was when we just started, and it was him, bless him. I didn't want to put that in there, but it was him. When Humble the Poet was doing a gig in, I think it was Waterloo area, going way back, 2015 maybe, this was, or 2014. And he did that gig where he didn't book a venue. They were just selling tickets. And he goes, based on the number of tickets up until this date, I'll then sort the venue. So it was like, it could be 100 people, we'll get a small venue. It could be 10 people, we'll get a little cafe shop. It would be 1,000 people, we'll get a massive venue. Tickets all got sold, did fantastic. And then they were selling it was like the marketing advertisement rights to it. So putting logos and this kind of stuff on the merch and the posters and all this kind of stuff. I had never done anything like that. And I was like, I didn't realize this was a thing. Naively thought, oh, you're a charity. Yeah, come on, we'll just do it for free. No. And that's another thing. If you're starting a charity, you still got to pay. People give you discounts. You still got to pay for everything. So I said, we cover all that stuff. Now we're getting like T-shirts and whatever these kind of things made. We pay for all of that. We can now. Thankfully, jobs pay the bills. It's okay. Our day jobs pay the bills. But he, bless him, said, I'll do that for you. Or for us, for the charity. I was like, you sure? I was like, it's a lot of money. He went, just think about it this way. If someone gives you £1,000, it's a lot of money. Yeah, hell of a lot of money. But what if you engage with 1,000 people and they give you £1 each? Still £1,000. But you've now engaged with 1,000 people. Yeah. So a little from a lot of people is what we try and encourage. You don't have to give your life savings. If you say, I've only got £5, mate, that's great. Thank you. £5, I've only got 50. Absolutely fine. Yeah. It all goes into that pot. And what you have to acknowledge, and what we say with people in this day and age, and overnight success, and we want this and that and the other by tomorrow, it's not about that. You got to slow and steady, let the pot build, and you will see it does.
Yeah. To wrap it up, I wondered if you could go back in time, would you do it all again?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I'd love to. I'd say I'd love to do it all over again. Absolutely.
Would you do anything differently, or what advice would you give to yourself, or would it be just do it?
I have no regrets about how it's gone and going and where it's continuing to go. Absolutely zero. It's been so great. Regret, absolutely none. No, because even the like I mentioned on that one, where you realize, okay, no, nothing's free, and some people are in it for themselves, kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely. It's just kind of only advice would be is basically that. Yeah. Don't be so naive, kind of thing, that somebody or some organizations, other people will say, oh yeah, that's fantastic, and when it actually comes down to it, we're like, no. And we're like, what changed? Yeah. Oh, sorry, maybe you're like, okay. And we mentioned about some of the more difficult parts, is kind of understanding that. So not trying to go for a £10,000 project because somebody may promise you a massive amount and you bank on it and it all falls flat on its face. So thankfully we never got to that point, but that kind of made us really understand of how much should we be looking to raise in our projects, realistically speaking. And then this is where it's been beautiful, where, as I mentioned, some people each year will say, here you go. And you'll be like, what? Wasn't expecting that. Like we did one football tournament this year. From that, one of the guys said, look, we've got a huge group of lads and we do our own, can you just help us do our own kind of in-house tournament? no problem, let's do that. And from that, one guy goes, can I pitch you guys to our work? I think, yeah, no problem, let's do it. And then get an email from them saying, we're really sorry, but we can only donate to you £3,000 this year. Like, £3,000? The corporate investment bank, Credit Agricole. Like, wow, okay, yeah, great. Only £3,000. Like, that's like our whole year just doubled. So something like that will happen. So yeah, going back to the original thing of anything to do different, yeah, just don't be so naive. And balance is key. Balance is, that's what we still say now, balance is absolutely key. Yeah, no, I would say that's about it, mate.
Fair enough. And finally, where can people find out more about Happy to Help,
yeah,
and and how can they support you?
Yes, so we have our website, so www.happytohelp.foundation. All of our projects, from UK to abroad, it's just a background, the team's details you'll see on there as in our trustee team, the donation links, etc., are all on there as well. So you've got the account details, there's PayPal. I think we've even got Just Giving direct page on there. So this is the difference now with Happy to Help. Before, when we used to have a Just Giving page for people to donate on for a run or something that we're doing, now you can set up a page and link it to us.
Wow, yeah.
So we're registered on Just Giving. So if somebody says, I want to do London Marathon, you can select us as a charity on your Just Giving page, and it's all automatically linked through now. There's that. You can get in touch with yourselves, and feel free to pass on my contact details for anyone who's willing to get in touch. There's our email address as well, which is just info@happytohelp.foundation. It's pretty much, and there's Instagram and stuff like that. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. The Instagram profile is, I've kind of used it as a personal page as well. And reason being is because, like I mentioned, is Happy to Help is part of me. It's my life, and we thought about separating it and myself having like my own account and whatever have you. I don't really post anything on that's like politically, let's say, difficult to discuss, and I try not to put my opinions out there too much, which is not worth it. But the reason why we have kept it as, let's say, a hybrid of personal and the charity account is because we're again just trying to demonstrate we're normal people. We have normal lives. Exactly, this is not something that I've broken out from my whole life to come and do kind of thing. It's very much part of my life, basically. And that's why we've kept it that way as well. So yeah, there's normal plugs there, mate.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Much
pleasure,
appreciated.
buddy.
Thank you for coming on.
No worries.